Dozens of workers are heading to the State House tomorrow to speak out for a new increase in the minimum wage. They'll be testifying in support of a bill that would increase the minimum over 4 years from $11 an hour to $15. Among those taking part in the Fight for 15 campaign is a mother of two and a worker at Dunkin Donuts, Barbara Fisher. Thank you very much for being with us, Barbara.
Hi, thank you.
First, we'll talk about what got you started in this campaign, because not everybody who has a job, in a fast food place gets involved. So, what makes you different?
Well, when I first came about this campaign, I always knew when I was like 15, I was going to be a leader of a change in the future. Whether it was change of low minimum wage or whether it's a change of public housing. But I was going to go out there and try to voice my opinion and let my voice be heard. So when I joined it, I was like, this is a perfect match. I'm struggling with my two kids. And at the time, I lost my parents. So it was a really hard to manage, my life. So I was like, okay, so this is a good thing to start. Maybe I can make a change in the world. Maybe I can make all the young adults that's struggling right now, maybe I can get them where they're comfortable of living and they don't mind working and having extra dollars to feed their family.
Tell us a little more about your struggle, because you're struggling for something that most people almost take for granted, which is a regular place to live.
Well, right now, when I was 19, I have lost both of my parents. I didn't finish school because I had to take care of my father because he had cancer. And then throughout the process, I became homeless because I lost both of my parents and I was under their care. And from 19 to, I want to say 22, I was homeless and I got into a shelter, and it's been really difficult for me because I had my son. So I was going house to house in different places with my son and didn't have nowhere study to stay. I was also working, so it was kind of complicated for me to get, a stable home.
How much would a minimum wage increase do for you? I mean, we're talking about something over 4 years. For some people, it's not a lot of money, but for you, it could be quite a bit, maybe.
Oh yes, when we get $15 an hour in union rights, it would do a big difference for me because I would less worry about struggling or less worrying about what bill would I have to pay, or if I miss this day of work, I won't be getting paid. That way, if we do have $15 an hour in union rights, I will be safe. If my kid were to get sick or anything, I will be covered to stay home and take care of them, then return back to work with the same hours and the same pay. So having $15 an hour would definitely help because I'll have a stable home, I can pay my bills, and then I could take care of my kids. Well,
I know you mentioned the possibility of those sick days, but what else would union rights do to make things better?
Union rights, it would change a lot because I would have more better stability with my hours, and I'll know what I can work with on my personal level. If I have my schedule won't change differently, different weeks, and my pay will stay the same, so I can plan out my bills, and then I could plan out what I have to do for my kids.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with Barbara Fisher from the Fight for 15 campaign. Barbara, talk about what's going on right now with hours. How unpredictable is it?
It's very unpredictable because, 1 week I'm set for a 40-hour schedule. Then I'm thinking I'm going to be set the next week for the 40-hour schedule, and it switches up on me to a 22-hour schedule. I can't base my living off different change in schedules because then that means my rent has to be lowered, or I have to find out what way to pay my rent with what bill or what money or what check. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult with the hours being changed and me planning out my bill payments and stuff.
What about the nature of the job? Because a lot of people look at whether it's Dunkin Donuts or McDonald's or Burger King. They say, well, these are fast food jobs. The food isn't that expensive. The workers, that it's not new that they get low pay. But why should they get more than just low pay, you think?
I think we should get more. We deserve more. We're human, just like everyone is human, and we work as hard as everybody else, and we have to deal with some things that some people don't have to deal with, meaning the upset customers. We have to make sure that we leave our customers leave out our store happy instead of upset, And then, I just think that having that, it would definitely make a difference. I feel like we work as hard as everybody else, and we deserve what everybody else deserves.
The other thing I guess you have to do is keep an eye on the inventory there to make sure that when people buy something and walk out with it, it's as good as they expect, right?
Oh yes, and that's the hardest part, because some things where when we have to keep the pricing, we have to see if the inventory meets the standard of the pricing, and if it don't, then they have to order more. So it kind of I feel like it makes our pay shorter, because, they equal things out and it doesn't fit. And if it don't, then they take it out of us because they probably consider that we took it.
Right,
So,
and in other words, you got to be attentive to detail, and that is when you don't have those intervals, when you got too many people waiting in line, right?
Right.
What's it like dealing with customers? Do you put a lot of effort into making sure you get that right with customers?
Yes. I mean, me personally, it's just a natural for me, because I love to make someone feel happy. I would love for someone to wake up in the morning and make me feel happy. So, it's just me seeing a frown on someone's face. It's just my job, and personally, to make you smile. Like, what can I do to brighten your day? How's your day going today? Bring certain cases up. Maybe I can make you smile by the end of the day.
Well, talking about days here, you've got a big one coming up tomorrow at the State House.
Yes.
There's going to be a hearing, and I guess, how important is it for people just even show up and show that there's some support for this?
It's very important, because I will be one of the people that's going to be testifying tomorrow. So it'll be very, very helpful to see a lot of supporters that support the $15 an hour and union rights.
By the way, do you talk about this with your children at all?
I do, actually.
What do you
To be
tell them?
honest with you, I don't have to really tell them anything. They go around my house chanting, and my son recently told his doctor that he wants to work in McDonald's, because he's going to be making $15 an hour and he'll be able to work there comfortably. And I'm like, how do you know what that means? But he comes out to strikes with me. My kids come out with strikes with me. They believe it. They believe they deserve it, and I believe it also. So
It's certainly a step in the right direction. Thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome.